Good, beautiful morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. Today, I have a group with me called the Ascended Masters, and they want to discuss the subject of why you must awaken now. It's not something to be delayed, it's something to be realized. Just wait a few moments for people to come on. If you do like what you hear today, please remember to hit the like, subscribe, follow buttons on the platform that you're watching from, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or TikTok. It's really important you understand what awakening is, and what they tell me is awakening is where you recognize that you are not your body, you are not your mind, you are a soul. From the perspective of that level of realization, then it does not matter what happens to the body or the mind, because you realize who you are. It's one of the things that allowed Master Jesus to survive and resurrect his body, is his capacity to know who he was, allowed him to change the effects that were perpetrated on his body when he was physically murdered in this dimension. You need to awaken now. Humanity is at a 60-40 ratio of fear to love. And that is leading us to a very specific and particular outcome that's happened numerous times throughout many civilizations. And awakening is not such a bad thing. Awakening is where you remember who you are, and it's not so important to be attached to who you've been or who you were. The reality is that we do reincarnate. You as a soul reincarnate. You are reborn into a new identity when the one that you're in no longer ceases to serve, no longer serves you, or has no more use for you. However, if you do not awaken to yourself, you run the risk of remaining asleep. Some of you for many lifetimes can be in the sleep of the personality, coming back into a body, a new mind, a new world, a new life, again and again and again, never really reaching the truth of what your being is and your potential is. So it's time to awaken now. I also want to remind everybody, you've got 3 more days left to register for Masterclass 101 Awakening. And that's, of course, we'll have me hear me channeling the different ascended masters, other multidimensional beings with our mediums. You'll also learn about card reading, sensing energies, how to connect to your guides and angels and your loved ones. And most importantly, how to awaken yourself, how to know the difference between you, your body, your mind, and your emotions. Because if you don't know how to make the distinction between those different levels, you can get trapped in an emotional body for many lifetimes. You get trapped in a mental body for many lifetimes. You get trapped in a physical body for many lifetimes. And the concept of self-realization is being able to integrate the self into a single realization of who you are. It's a very wonderful time we are all in. It really, really is. And this function of awakening is so important. We need to shift if we want to enjoy the evolution of this planet as a species and as individuals. Then it's really important that we learn to shift our collective energy from fear to love. And that means you understand who you are, because the nature of what you are as a soul is that you are a spirit of universal light or love. You are a creator being. You're not just a meat sack with a bunch of ideas and beliefs and a personality. Those are facets of the consciousness that you use while you're in this dimension, but it's not who you are. Really important to wake up right now, they tell me. Very important. You must choose or lose. Good morning. Hello, Arco. How you doing? Someone saying, take the class. Yes, take the class. Before it's too late, you've got 3 more days left to register. This will be, I think, our last 101 of 2025. And we will be changing and adjusting our prices to match other things we've been told have to happen. Very important, awakening. Awaken to what you really are. Many of you believe that you are your thoughts. Many of you believe that you are your emotions. Many of you believe that you are just the physical body. And these are just beliefs, but they're not who you are. Who you are transcends the body. Who you are transcends thoughts and emotions. The very act of being able to observe your thoughts and emotions indicates that you are not your thoughts and emotions. You are a consciousness that's able to observe them. And this choice to stay asleep and go through lifetimes of different experiences, nothing wrong with that. You're free to do that. But this is in the last 72,000 years. This is like the fifth or sixth time that we're facing another planetary reset, what everybody calls the new Earth. Yes, I will. So one of the things that you've been wanting me to say right now is a lot of the movies that you've seen on television in the last 50 or 60 years, these disaster movies where the world ends and terrible things happen. Well, this is being presented because the human collective unconscious remembers these resets. There's a part of every one of us that remembers these resets that happen as a result of how we use our creative consciousness while in a physical dimension. And you've got a limited amount of time. I'm told just under 20 years now before that reset will occur again, unless we are able or willing to shift our collective unconsciousness from fear to love. Remember, this has happened for 72,000 years, from the fall of Eden, the sinking of Atlantis, the destruction of Mu and Lemuria, the Roman Empire, many different civilizations that have fallen under the weight of the misuse of creative consciousness, which is your emotional energy and your imagination and your thinking. These are elements of creation that you use. Remember, the time is now. Don't waste any time. Like, really, go to my website, WilliamMichaelForbes.com, register Masterclass 101 Awakening. You only have 3 more days. I cannot tell you, you will learn all about card reading. You'll learn to open up your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, your claircognizance. You will discover a peace that is who you really are. You'll remember the value of what you are as a function of consciousness, as love. Just imagine knowing that you aren't your thoughts, you aren't your emotions, you aren't your body, but you have them. They're instruments that you use, like you drive your car or you use your clothing to dress up. Your mind, your emotions, and your body are the just clothing that you wear while you're in this earth walk. And when you start to connect to and remember who you are and start to experience yourself, because in the master classes, there are three large lessons and meditations every single week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday. Additionally, there are practices with other mediums on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays where you will learn how to open up different faculties. You'll learn such things as using tools like card reading. You'll use like oracle cards, and you'll learn to use those to activate clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. You want to learn to activate them. And in conventional way of living, there are no tools that teach you how to open up these other senses that you have as a soul. You have 5 senses for your body, and you have these 4 senses for your soul. The 5 senses for your body are pretty well developed by the environment, but for most people, these 4 other senses of your soul are either dormant or unused. They're not developed. They're not cultivated. And there's nothing or little or nothing in the conventional educational system to teach you about those facets of your consciousness. Important to understand that you are a soul living in a human world, in a structure of matter, energy, and thought, all of which work together to create what you call your experiences. If you are unaware or unable to alter or change your thoughts, your emotions, or your physical organism, then you will be subjective to whatever you've been taught to think, feel, and believe. Only from the perspective of your soul, being awake and aware, able to differentiate your thoughts, your memories, your emotions from yourself, Only at that point can you begin the process of reconstructing your mind, your emotions, and your body to be in the image and likeness of what you are. And yet, if you do not know what you are, how can you reconstruct your mind, your body, and your emotions into your image and likeness? So the function of meditation, the function of opening up these other senses that you have, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance, your ability to open these senses will put you in touch with who and what you really are, and you will experience yourself not through the eye of your personality, but through the eye of your own being. Imagine not having any thoughts, memories, or emotions influencing you right now to make choices. Let's say that you could get in touch with a part of yourself that could transcend any subjectivity to your thoughts, and you could make conscious and deliberate decisions about your life that would change it and transcend the existing conditions quite radically and in a very beautiful way. Because your soul creates very differently than your mind, your emotions, and your body do on their own. The awakening of your soul is the most important goal that any human can aspire towards at this time in human history. Awakening your soul, recognizing you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your body, you have them. And beginning to look in the mirror upon yourself and reflect upon the true nature of what you really are as a sentient being here in a physical dimension. Through the function of meditation and several other practices that we will take you through, you will begin to experience yourself, your real self, as you truly are, and not as that which has been defined by the environment, your mother, your father, your parents, your educators, your books, the external senses which have defined your personality for you. But being able to experience yourself as you are without all of those definitions and impositions of beliefs and ideas that have been imposed upon you or put upon you by this world. We have seen this countless times, that once an individual begins to experience their true nature, that is, where your mind and your body, your memories and your emotions can no longer assume control or authority over you, you begin to experience yourself as something quite remarkable and beautiful, something which is independent of the influence of thoughts and memories and emotions. And it's very important you learn to have that distinction and to experience yourself as you really are, because it will completely alter and change how you will begin to use your mind and body from the perspective of your being and not from the perspective of subjectivity to your thoughts, your memories, and your emotions. And we are not saying that your thoughts and memories and emotions are bad. We are simply saying that many of you remain subjective to them and therefore find yourself in difficult situations unnecessarily, or experiencing things that you really do not want to experience, but you're experiencing because your thoughts, your memories, and your emotions are creative in their influence over energy, time, and space, as equally as you as a soul have the capacity to alter and change time and space. When you awaken your soul, there is a feeling unlike any other that you have ever known. For those of you that have not awakened to your soul, for those of you that begin to learn how to put your mind and body aside sufficiently enough to begin to regain familiarity with yourself, there is a great joy that happens, a great peace, a great patience begins to emerge from within you, and your mind and body begin to change and transform, because as you awaken, you will naturally, your energy will naturally begin to assert its influence over your mind, your emotions, your memories, and your body, as opposed to the mind, the memories, and the emotions keeping you trapped within the cycle of themselves. As you awaken, your mind, your body, and your emotions will become subjective to you as the sentient being or the soul that you are. It's important to awaken to that, Many of those that do not awaken this will come back repeatedly into different lifetimes in attempts to awaken themselves, many never really realizing that for many tens of thousands of years, not knowing that you are a soul, forgetting that, forgetting who you are. We've had many people that have come to us, and in the process of their awakening, they go, oh my goodness, this is who I am. I am love. These are not just idle words, that you are love. Hear and feel the vibration of these words. You are love. That vibration, if you allow yourself to feel the vibrational meaning of those words, that you are love, may intrigue you enough to consider exploring that vibration a little deeper within yourself, to learn how to extract your consciousness from its subjectivity to the mind and body, which keeps you stuck in the reality that's been imposed upon you by this world. In the position of awakening yourself, you will find a wonderful new experience of being that is your natural state, where the world does not have sway over you, what you are becoming, what you are doing. You begin to understand certain fundamentals about your being that you are not taught in any other educational systems. Additionally, we will introduce you to functions and practices of consuming food, what we call high vibrational food, to change and alter the frequency of your physical organism so that your body begins to move away from the alignment of dead, devitalized, and destructive foods into the frequency of vitality, life. As you put more living and live food in your body becomes more alive and living. Too many people are so caught up in eating foods that are dead and devitalized and processed that the body has become very low vibrational. When your body is very low vibrational, it makes it very difficult for one to pursue higher pursuits, such as remembering who you are as a spiritual being, because you're caught up in the function of pain of the body, the suffering of the body that happens when it is not treated correctly. So we will introduce you to different ways of consuming substances that will raise the frequency of your body. Additionally, you'll learn how to shift and change the way your mind is operating so that it comes under the dominion of your conscious soul, that your mind is now the servant to you and not your master, as it has become for so many of you on this world that believe that your thoughts and your emotions are uncontrollable and unalterable, that you have no authority or power over them. Well, let us correct you on that. You are designed by nature to have absolute authority and control lovingly over your mind and your emotions and your physical organism. You are designed by nature to be a creating consciousness. You're made this way. You're designed to be a creating consciousness, not simply a meat sack, not simply a drone that follows specific ideas and beliefs that have been given to you without question. You did not come to this world to struggle. You did not come to this world to suffer. You came to this world to learn the function of creation, and you do that through the practice of awakening. The practice of awakening means that you learn to reassume authority over your mind, your body, and your emotions. This in turn results in the environment, the people, events, and circumstances around you having little or no influence or effect over your being anymore. The function of your soul is one of prosperity, health, and vitality. The function of your personality, generally speaking, is struggle and suffering, or as you would say, as many say, death and taxes. You've been conditioned to believe that suffering is the natural way of being human. And we're here to correct that and say, no, your natural way of being is creation. And when you understand the mechanisms of creation in your own consciousness, then you will not be so dependent upon the world to affect your function of creation, as you will already have that function in your own, under your own guidance and control and authority, rather than the authority of the world around you. It's a very wonderful thing that you're all engaged in, but you must Awaken now. Do not delay. The time is so important. If you are awakened and the body ceases to function, you will not lose consciousness. If the body ceases to function unexpectedly, or the mind ceases to function unexpectedly, you may forget yourself if you are not awakened. If you are awakened, then if the mind and body cease to function, you will still remain conscious and aware, independent of the mind and body, which is your natural state. You came into flesh, you will leave from flesh. But what happens is many people come into flesh, they get attached to it, and they stay on the circle of being attached. Attachment to the body, attachment to thoughts, attachments to emotion, attachments to certain things that keep you in this cycle of the coming and staying here for extremely long periods of time in human terms. However, in the place where you are awakening your soul, you can step out of that wheel, that cycle of over and over and over again, just by remembering and being what you truly are. So when the body ceases to function, you will still be conscious and aware. It is not a difficult or a complex process. It is ultimately extremely simple awakening. What makes it difficult is there's nothing that is teaching you how to be awake. Everything wants you to stay asleep, particularly those in certain positions of authority who benefit from your simply being asleep and stuck again and again, living the same life in different bodies in different circumstances, but again, repeating over and over again certain things, which these ones that are awake do not. They can come and go into physical forms and remain conscious and aware of who they are. The ascended masters, such as ourselves, do this. We come, we go, we come, we go, we come, we go. But we do so as an act of our will. And every single human soul in this world can enable the function of their will to do the same. It has been commonly spoken that anything that you can do, we can do. Anything we can do, you can do. Whatever we can become, you can become. Understand that you are not just a simple collage of body, mind, and emotions. You are a dynamic soul with functions of creation far surpassing what your mind or your body are capable of in and of themselves. Wow. So they said we must awaken. It's really important, especially with this 60-40 ratio. It's not changing. We got a very limited period of time, like less than 20 years now, to shift human collective unconsciousness from fear to balancing out with love. You don't want it to be one way or the other too much, because that will cause another type of a swing. You want balance, right? Very important. But I like what they said earlier. All of these disaster movies that we've seen coming out in the last 40 or 50 years, that there's a part of our collective unconscious that knows what happened, when Eden fell, that knows what happened when Atlantis sank, that knows what happened when Lemuria was erased, and Mu, when these different vast civilizations that were well recognized global civilizations, and they fell under the same fate that we are currently facing, where we did not have a dynamic, healthy, collective unconscious, because we are all creators. You're a creator. I'm a creator. Everybody here is a creator right now. Everybody on the planet is creating in a way of that towards love or towards fear. But everyone's creating, and they're saying our collective unconsciousness historically has created resets where the planet gets very energetically imbalanced. We get emotionally caught up in fear, control, and power. And then there's a planetary reset. Conventional science calls them magnetic polar reversals. And these magnetic polar reversals are the effects of the electromagnetic interplay between human collective unconsciousness and the electromagnetic field of the Earth as well, because we're interacting with it, all of us. So all these great civilizations, Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, and they say there's countless others that were far before those ones as well. But literally tens of millions of years of human civilizations. Pardon me, they want me to correct that. Humanoid civilizations on this planet, as there There were species of humanoids on this planet that were very tall, species of humanoids very short. There are species of humanoid that were very inert. There are species of humanoid that would not be physical. There are many different types of humanoid forms that were in this dimension that interacted with the electromagnetic system that's here. And so this shift in the Earth's magnetic poles, science has not recognized that it's directly correlated to human collective unconsciousness. All as far as science has gotten is that the idea is that the sun is driving the Earth's magnetic shift right now, and the sun is being shifted by what they call the galactic current sheet. But they're not saying that your human collective unconsciousness can change and alter what this energy coming into the planet, how it affects you. We call these energies ascension energies, the energies coming in from the sun, from the galactic center, and from the universal center. And these energies will be received by us and articulated into different expressions by us. If you're in a high vibrational state, then that energy will be converted into something beneficial to you. If you're in a low vibrational state, then the energy you're receiving will be converted into a low vibrational expression. And we're all doing this. We're all receiving this energy. Every single living being on this planet. Animals, plants, humans. But humans of all the creatures on the planet have the greatest influence and effect over this shift in the system. Yeah, the magnetic poles are beginning to shift. And it's due in part to the human collective unconsciousness. And that's really important to understand that our collective unconsciousness asserts an influence over the creation process upon this planet, and has done so for tens of millions of years. And that's why it's so important to awaken, so that you can participate in keeping love conscious, active, and present in this world, to really keep it active in your body, keep love active in your mind, keep love active in your soul. Well, your soul is love. That you want your mind, your emotions, and your body to be a reflection of your soul, not your soul being subjective to your mind and body and emotions. Anyway, you've got like 4 days left to sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening. Go to WilliamMichaelForbes.com and please enjoy. Do not wait. Don't wait until it's done. Don't sign up before it's too late. Jasmine, thank you for that super chat. My experience of taking the 101 Masterclass allowed me to give birth to my soul consciously and integrated God within and through me. Wow. It's important you understand that. I literally channel the Ascended Masters and other multidimensional beings, as do some of our other mediums as well. They do the same thing. You will be interacting on almost a one-on-one basis in a live setting with the Ascended Masters and receiving their, you can call it their darshan, their grace, their energy, their wisdom, their knowledge. And it will change you, as it's changed me and it's changed many others. 7 years ago, I never would have considered my life being what it is right now. 7 years ago, I had a very profound experience that made me realize that Jesus and Buddha and Yogananda, many other ascended masters actually exist and are open to being able to communicate to us if we learn that process. And the experience that I had was having my wife's mother, who had passed away a week before we had gone on this trip, show up on the trip and talk to me, and then tell me to pull over and talk to her daughters. And up until that point, I was kind of skeptical about the mystical, non-physical worlds and the dimensions of consciousness there. And I'll tell you something: when you have something really significant happen to you that's outside of anything you've ever experienced, it changes you. When you experience the energy of an ascended master, or even the energy of a loved one, you're sitting there and all of a sudden you can talk to a loved one. But we've had people that have learned to talk to their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers. They're not dead. They just don't have a physical body. Death is a lie that's been told. When the body ceases to function, you are simply not able to interact on a physical plane of consciousness because you don't have a body. That's what they tell me. When the body ceases to function, you move to a different frequency of perception, a different realm of perception than the physical senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. That other realm of perception we call the realm of the clairs: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance, which are natural functions of your soul, when those functions are activated and you're conscious and aware that you have them. But most people go through life believing they are just their eyes, their ears. I'm just this body. So when the body ceases to function, they become unconscious. And so they lose enough self-awareness that they cannot communicate to you here unless you know how to communicate to them. And I've had many times where I've connected people that aren't in their physical body, and how overjoyed and thrilled people are that aren't in a physical body, where you actually reach out and you connect to them. Their energy responds to you. And suddenly you find your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your loved one, and feeling their energy being present with you. And it's the most amazing thing. And they'll have different ways. Your loved ones will have different ways of connecting to you. My biological father, who passed away about 9 years ago from cancer, he left the body. And about 6 years ago, I'm in my kitchen. I got this crazy urge for a beer, right? I don't drink alcohol. So I was like, I said to my wife, I got this crazy craving for beer. And she said to me, well, who is it? I never thought to ask the question until she suggested. I said, who is this? And it's me. It's Dad. I just want to know what it's like to taste a beer again. I'd love to taste a beer again. And so I thought about how could I do that? So I went out and found out that you get 0.0 alcohol. So I found some Heineken 0.0, and I sat down and I drank a beer with my dad. And he said, I wanted to remember the feeling of that sensation. Thank you so much. So my dad presents to me that way sometimes, where he connects to me that way. I'll feel the energy of beer. I got other mentors who approach me, who I can tell that it's them because I can smell cigarette smoke, right? I don't smoke cigarettes and I won't smoke cigarettes, but I can tell that it's Dr. Bill Curry, or I can tell if it's somebody else. And your loved ones will have their own unique way of presenting themselves to you. You just have to learn how to tune your awareness into their energy. Just like you can tune your awareness onto a bird you see, or a rabbit, or somebody starts talking to you and you tune your energy into them. Well, you can do the same thing with people that aren't in their physical bodies. You can learn to tune your energy to their energy, and you can learn to hear them, feel them, sense them, and know them. Once you understand how to shift your perceptual apparatus from body to energy. Because remember, when somebody doesn't have a physical body, they can't talk to you in physical words. But I'll tell you, they can interact with you in energy. And it's a beautiful and an amazing thing. I watched this one woman who had a reading with me, and her loved one had left 2 years previously, and she'd watched one of our live events a couple of years back. And she called and said, I'd like to have a reading. And we set that up. And during the reading, she was guided to how she could connect to his energy. And I remember the moment that she was there, where she's calling his energy in. Her eyes are closed, her body's relaxed, and she's sensing his energy. And as he tuning into her, he suddenly energetically appears. And as he does this, her arms go up and she goes, he's with me now. And she wraps her arms around herself, but you can see this bliss on her face as she's experiencing the rejoining, the energetic reconnection between herself and her husband, who had passed away 2 years earlier. And I have seen that countless times, where people have reconnected to the energy of their loved ones, and to watch the relief and the joy they feel, the sadness and the mourning they were going through ends just like that, because you realize they may not be here, but they still exist, and you can learn to connect to them. Just imagine being able to do that. It's not that difficult. You just have to learn to change the way you perceive from matter to energy, from sensation to vibration. And in our Masterclass 101, you will be learning how to do that. You'll experience it firsthand. And not only that, but your body and your mind are going to go through wonderful, powerful, positive changes, because you're now focusing in a different way and interacting with your mind and body differently. Now, there's a thing that some people get a little concerned about, that we tell you to bring a pack of oracle cards. Buy a deck before you register for the class. Buy a deck of oracle cards, because you're going to need them for the class. Oracle cards are simply a tool to assist you in the development and activation of what we call your clairs: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. You use these tools. You can use other tools, but for the course, we were told to use oracle cards, and that's what we use. And the oracle cards will help activate clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. There are other tools that do the same thing in a different way, like pendulums. Again, they in and of themselves, pendulums, oracle cards, any divination tools in and of themselves have no special power. The special power is in that you're focusing in such ways to acquire or gain information not readily available to your 5 physical senses. As a result, you're actually activating other senses to perceive what you do not know in your mind and body. And you'll go through that experience of using oracle cards, other different practices that you're going to go through that let you sense, feel, know, and experience these other dimensions of consciousness that you naturally have connection to. We have a lot of people who in childhood used to see people standing in front of them, their mother, their great-grandfather, Jesus, Buddha, many others. And they lost it somewhere between childhood and adulthood. It got lost. They got disconnected from that memory of being, I know I saw my grandfather standing at the foot of my bed when I was a little girl or a little boy. And they get that gets lost in how they get attached to living in the 3rd dimension. And they learn to reactivate that function through the practices that they get. And you'll learn to reactivate those things through the process that you'll go through. It's been an amazing journey to watch people awaken like that. It's really, truly wonderful. Truly wonderful. Hi, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Remember to share. So yeah, I do readings as well. If you want to book a one-on-one session with me, go to my website, WilliamMichaelForbes.com, or click on the Linktree link in my TikTok bio or below any of my videos on my YouTube channel, and you can get hooked up to the class there. For those that want to get signed up, again, you've only got 4 days left to sign up, and you don't want to be late for it. You really want to get in there under the wire, and go to WilliamMichaelForbes.com, or again, click on the Linktree link. Very important time to awaken. Question from Bazia. May I please ask for healing of my emotions connected to my husband? I feel worthless and lonely. Okay, Bazia, what I'm going to ask you to do is what they've taught me to do. I'm going to ask you to just sit down in a chair and relax. And I want you to take a long, slow, deep breath. And as you exhale, allow your body to relax. Others of you here can do this. If you've got emotional stuff going on, do this. This is what they taught me to do, so I'll teach it to this person right now. So as you let the body relax, take another slow, deep breath. And with each exhale, give your body permission to relax. Feel it relax, because it will relax with every exhale. It's a natural autonomic function. When you exhale, the body releases tension. So take several deep breaths and exhale. Allow the body to relax. And you can tell the body, relax as you exhale. Relax, relax, relax. And as your body gets relaxed, Bazia, turn your attention to those emotions of worthlessness. Turn your attention to those emotions of worthlessness and feel where they are in your body. And then communicate these words to those emotions. Communicate these exact words to those emotions of worthlessness. No matter how you feel, I love you anyway. And say that slowly and deliberately to those feelings of worthlessness. No matter how you feel, I love you anyway. And repeat that slowly with more meaning and sincerity. Give those emotions that thought. No matter how you feel, I love you anyway. And just do that 3 or 4 times. And watch what happens to that feeling of worthlessness. And then leave a comment in the comment section about what changed for you by doing that. Because once you learn how to interact with your emotions differently than the way you've been taught to, because most people just get caught up in their emotions, in the process of awakening, you learn to interact with your emotions very differently than you ever could have imagined. And this is one of the ways in which that happens in real time. And you see this happen with students in the class where they go through these profound transformations where those feelings of low vibrational energy suddenly change and they feel amazing. But anyway, I'm curious to see what Bazia has to say to us about that. Pure Energy is asking, some of us are 100% conscious of who we were in the past and how we have to change our bloodlines. Yes, absolutely, some are. You are the God of your ancestors. That's absolutely true. Very good insight. Thank you so much. Hi. Yeah, we are taking questions now. She was, hang on. I'm just trying to get to the first part of your question. Oh, you're very welcome. It was a beautiful story. I have hundreds of stories like that with people who've come in for readings with sons and daughters, or people who've come in with really deep, wounded emotions. And I cannot tell you how many times we've watched people in, if Jesus comes through, or Buddha comes through, or Archangel Michael comes through, or Raphael comes through for you. I've watched people's whole energy just completely change. And virtually anybody who's ever had a reading with me has ended up coming and taking our courses and taking all of them. It's an amazing thing, because when you experience directly the energy of an ascended master, it's a very incredible experience. They love beyond measure. And when they communicate to you, you can feel that love. You can feel the deep respect they have for you as a being. And it's a wonderful thing. Let's see now. We can find the first part of that question. Let's see if I can show this. Hi, William. Hi, someone known as asking, hi, William. I had a physical visitation from a girl who used to babysit my girls 30 years ago. And, hang on, that's the first part of the question. She was still 16 years old. Does that mean she's passed? No, it means that's the form that she reverted to in the astral plane. When you leave the physical plane, she came and visited you because you remembered her. You remembered her fondly, and you tuned into her energy, and that's why she came to you. She came to you because you remembered her fondly, you tuned into her energy, and she came to you in the energy to which you tuned into her. So she presented to you as her 16-year-old self, as you would remember her and relate to her the most. Understand that the specifics of how your loved ones or people you care about will connect you from the other side will depend upon a variety of factors, all of which you will learn in the Masterclass 101 Awakening course, the different ways and nuances of how your loved ones can connect to you. Right. Hi, Loretta. Good to see you. Good morning to you too. Hi, thank you for that super chat, Luz. Our lost kitty showed up in our yard. Congratulations. I'm so grateful. That was a little while ago, wasn't it? They said it would come back. It's a wonderful thing. Hello, Irene. Good to see you. Hi, William. Can you shed any light on why my situation happened if my guides allow it? Understand, your guides are not there to give you permission. Your guides are there to instruct you, not to give you permission. Your guides are designed to teach you certain functions of thinking, emoting, and being that allow you to articulate a different creative experience. Your guides are not there to tell you what to do. They're there to instruct you, to give you options, but you must choose. The Ascended Masters won't tell you what to do. They'll tell you what you need to do, but you don't have to do it. They'll tell you, spend a few minutes every day getting the body and mind quiet. They'll tell you that, but you have the freedom to choose. Your guides will not make you do something. None of them will ever do that. They're there for instruction. Hi, how you doing? Please scroll up to see the beginning of my question. Yeah, I got it. Thank you so much, Nona. That was a beautiful question. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Maria and Loretta Ryan asking, Loretta particularly, any message for me from Jesus about my 24-year-old kitty Tammy? He has a cyst since February above his right eye. Will he be okay? He's telling me you know the answer to the question. He will remain with you as long as he physically can. As you already understand, there are physical limits to beings like cats and dogs. There are physical limits that they are bound by that you are not. But this one will always be okay, as any, even when they come in and go from the body, everyone is okay. Everyone is ultimately okay in the end, right? It's a beautiful thing. Yes. Golden Age Goddess podcast asking, William, my right leg has been twitching the past 5 days. Any signs there? Okay, listen very carefully. Sit down, because the body can only communicate to you on the level that it's at. That's what they tell me. So the twitching in your body going on for 5 days is the body's trying to tell you something. There's something that your body needs. And again, we're not here to tell you what your body needs, because you will discover it. Remember, the ascended masters, guides, angels, the guardians, the higher level beings will instruct you. They will not do for you, because you're here to learn to become a creator. So you want to sit down with that twitching, relax the body, and let the twitching know you're not, just right now, do this right now. Turn to your twitching and say, I'm not going to ignore you. Sit down with it and let it twitch and say, I'm going to remain with you while you twitch. I will not ignore you. Just repeat that. Stay with it. And then ask the twitching to reveal to you in a way that you can understand what it's trying to tell you that it needs. I hope you heard that. You can always go back to the replay and replay that segment, which I think is at about the, where are we time-wise? We're at the 46-minute mark, so that you can go back to the 46-minute mark and check that out. And really go into that very, very deliberately. Golden Age Goddess. Yeah, do that. You need to, the body can only communicate when the body's only able to communicate to you through sensation, physical sensation. So you get twitches, aches, pains. It's because the body is talking to you in its language. And most people don't understand how to interact with that language. A lot of people don't want to feel the pain, so they ignore the body and the pain gets worse. You want to go into the symptomology of the body and find out what it needs that it's getting, or what it needs that it's not getting, or what it's getting that it doesn't need. Maybe your body just needs to go for a run or walk. I can tell you some things that I'm getting, and if you want to unpack it a little differently, go book a reading with me. But you want to really get into learning how to hear what the body is saying to you. The body's talking to you on its language. That's all it can ever do. Sensation. That's why the body communicates with us. Sensation. Hi there. Oh, you're very welcome, darling. You're very welcome. We're pretty good here. Thank you for that super chat, Amanda. Really appreciate it. Saying, I had a dream where I left a group of familiar people who wanted me to play with guns. Is this my soul not conforming to people now? I feel so empowered. You congratulations, and yes, you are. You are feeling so empowered. Your feelings will not lie. There's a difference between feelings and emotions. Feelings are of your soul. Emotions are of your body. Isn't that an interesting thought? Feelings are of your soul. Emotions are of your body. Wonderful. I want to remind everybody, you've got 4 more days left to sign up for Masterclass 101 Awaken. Go to williammichaelforbes.com. This will be the last 101 of 2025, and we will be making changes to our rates. So this is your last chance to get it at this rate and this cost, because it's a 3-week program where you're going to be going live at least an hour every day from Sunday to Friday with our mediums, the Ascended Masters, and you're going to be learning how to open up all your senses, your spiritual senses that you have. And you don't want to waste any time. Like, you must awaken now. It's so important in so many ways, in so many different ways. Oh, you're welcome, Maria. Yes, he will stay a little while longer. That's why he's still here. That's why he's still here. I like that feeling. Feelings are the soul. Emotions are the, yes. Feelings are of the soul. Emotions are the body. It's very simple. Very simple. It's funny, we have such a, should I go out with this guy, or should I put back? Listen, you are in doubt. And because you are in doubt, you are in fear. Because you are in fear, you cannot make a decision effectively. What you need to do is find out why a part of you is in doubt. Ask the part of you that's in doubt, why do you doubt this? Because the part of you might know that this person may not be what you need at this time. But you want to get to a place where you learn to listen to what you're being communicated to, because your body knows certain things, your mind knows certain things, and your soul knows certain things. But you're asking a question from a position that indicates you've got a lot of uncertainty. And with that level of uncertainty, it can be hard to make a reasonable decision. So you want to sit down and ask the part that's afraid what it's afraid of and address the fear. Anyway, go sign up, everybody. Have yourselves a wonderful and joyful day. Oh, Daniela, hang on. Thank you for that super chat. Currently updating the e-commerce store, which I learned to do from one day to the other. Will buyers feel the change of energy as well? Absolutely. If you feel a shift in your energy, it shifts the energy of everything and everyone you're connected to. If you shift or change your energy, whether it's a positive change or a not so positive change, then everyone, everything you're connected to will react and respond to that in different ways. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out today. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the Friday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. And for those of you that are already registered for the Masterclass 101, I'm really excited about seeing you guys for the orientation on Saturday. Have yourselves a wonderful and a joyful day. Everybody, bye for now.